everybody, what's going on? Another cruise with Smooth today. Hope everyone had a decent enough weekend. I got to hang out with some friends and unwind a bit this weekend, and I'm now staring down the barrel of overtime this week, so is what it is. Before I get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's some extra videos I've been thinking about doing. A lot of times I'm tinkering on things, and I've been thinking about posting up videos and stuff like that. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to see it, fine. If not, I'll figure out something else to record. Also, a GoPro with a better camera angle and all that stuff is in the works. Don't know exactly when that's going to happen just yet, but it is in the works. If you like the things I've got to say, feel free to give me a subscribe, like, comment, hit the notification bell. If there's anything that you want to hear coming up in a future video, give me a comment. Also, something kind of fun, a buddy of mine is starting his own podcast called I'm No Expert. And he's having me on for his first episode. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but we're planning on recording within a week. So I don't know when it's getting put up, but I will post a link to it in the comments section of one of the videos whenever it goes up. So there is that. Also, if there's anything that you want to hear the two of us non-experts talk about during that show, go ahead and comment, tell me what it is, and I can bring it up. The only rule that he has at this show is no Googling. So if you know a thing, you know a thing. If you don't know a thing, you don't know a thing. But anyway, that's kind of what's up and what's coming. I wanted to tell you about a interesting story today. There's a person who has a lot of debt that I know. Signed it when they were younger to try to make a better life for themselves, and they're in a lot of debt now. In the ballpark of $75,000 to $80,000-ish in debt. And I don't think it should be forgiven. By the way, the person's me. And the debt's not student loan debt. No, it's a mortgage, car payment, credit cards, a few other odds and ends stuff. But I don't think that it should be forgiven. And I don't think that like 95% of student loan debt should be forgiven. I think that you can make an argument that college has gotten too expensive. College is the one thing that as far as tuition costs, it's outpaced basically inflation by 100%, by 1,000%. So I think that colleges have gotten way expensive and way out of hand in their tuition costs, and I think part of that is you had a ton of blue-collar parents in the middle of the last century, good golly, that sounds weird, that kept pushing their kids to go to college, and whether they did or not, that was still instilled in them. High schools wanted them to go to college, and all of a sudden you've got a ton of kids going to college, a lot of them that don't know what they're planning on majoring in, and it's just a 4-year stint of intro to alcoholism and sexual debauchery. So tell you another funny story about me. My ex-girlfriend / fiance went to a private Christian liberal arts college. That's a mouthful. And it was the sort of well-rounded education that you'd expect from such a university. Our history majors can do math. Our math majors know history. And everyone knows water aerobics. That sort of thing. Oh, and you also worked in the student labor program, which was slave labor, because you couldn't seek any sort of meaningful wages outside the college. Anyway, she graduated college with a arts history major, I think. Don't ask me, I don't know. This has been a number of years ago. And she got kind of a useless degree as far as the amount of money you can make with that degree. Now, all of hers was Pell Grant and scholarship, so the only thing that she had to pay for were her books. So she didn't graduate with any student debt because she paid her books off working through the student labor program. Well, anyway, the entire time that we were together, I could, we're trying to get set up to get married and get a house and all this, that, and the other, and I could not get her to get a job. Well, fast forward about a year after she got out of college, the two of us ended up breaking up. Whole other story, not going there today. And she took and the weird part about all this is half of her family hates my guts. The other half of her family traded her for me, and I get invited to birthday parties, holiday dinners. If I tell them that, hey, this weekend I'd like to come visit, I can come visit. I wish I got to visit more often than I do. I really do. They're great people. But I get to hang out with them. Well, anyway, due to still being on good terms with half of her family, every once in a while I'll hear something about what's going on with her, good, bad, ugly, whatever. And I don't wish anything bad on her. I'm glad things had turned out the way that they did between us, but I wish that I would have seen what was going on sooner, I guess. Well, anyway, she took a 4-year, $160,000-ish degree from this rather good college in our state, and got a $45,000 a year job with not really much upward mobility. Not a sponsor, by the way. It's pretty good, though. It's very good. Coca-Cola energy drink, folks. Cherry Coke. Tastes like cherry Coke, but I need a kick in the butt. But she got a job with not a lot of upward mobility, and even if there was upward mobility, not a huge amount available in the way of pay increases. Now, after we broke up, I went through a rather rough patch financially, but about the same time that she got her job doing what she was doing, I got a decent job. No college education to speak of. I have a semester under my belt, and it helped me understand some things, and it's pertinent to what I do. I work with my hands a lot. Well, anyway, I was making more money a year there, year 1 than she was doing what she was doing year 2. And the pay scale at my place of employment is graduated over a number of years, so I was always going to end up making more money for a number of years than she was. So I know that there's some degrees that pay a lot of money if you get decent job play. If you go into a field, if you get an engineering degree and you become a mechanical or technical or whatever engineer, yeah, you can do very good with that. But when you get a silly degree, don't expect a 6-figure job. And I haven't researched these personally, but I've heard stories about people getting degrees in something like lesbian dance theory. Wouldn't that just be dance theory? I mean, why not? Why are you discriminating against the gays, the homosexual men? Didn't think about that. Or the transgenders. It's discriminatory. I had a bit of a rough night, folks. I'm in rare form, we'll say. I worked night shift, and I was woke up 2 or 3 times by the dogs. And the last time I was, we'll just say, not in a fantastic mood, and I didn't get much sleep after that, so I'm a little goofier than normal today. But I don't think that student loan debt should be forgiven. I know I kind of got off on a tangent there. Anyway, here's why. Most students, even though it might not be explained to them to the point where they understand it, know basically what they're getting themselves into when they sign up to go to college through student loans. They know that at the end of their education, once they get a job, they're going to have to be paying back on these student loans for a time. And that's fine. And I don't have any problem with student lending in and of itself. I think that there's a lot of lending that goes on to degrees that we'll never be able to pay them back. Like, okay, you get a useless degree in something that's silly, lesbian dance theory for one. I don't think that there's a way that you'll ever be able to repay in a timely fashion that sort of debt that you would incur. So I think that the lending institutions aren't being smart with their money, or aren't allowed to be smart with their money. That I don't know. But I don't think that it should be made the problem of every taxpayer. And here's the thing about it: when they talk about forgiving all student loan debt, that's going to cause a huge amount of friction in this country. Okay, if tomorrow all student loan debt was forgiven, you're going to have people that got degrees of whatever type, that doesn't matter, that worked very hard to get their student loan debt paid off. And suppose they made their last payment months to a year before this happens. They're not going to get reimbursement. Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, I forget who, said so. And so they can kiss all that hard effort goodbye forever. And then you can have a student that just got out of college that hadn't even found a job yet that doesn't have any student loan debt. I think that that's ridiculous. Plus, the government is $21 trillion in debt right now to various countries. I think that's the number, last I heard, last I checked. So I don't think that the federal government taking on a $1 to $2 trillion debt problem is a bright idea. I know that some people have ideas on how to pay for it, but at the end of the day, it's not the government's debt, it's our debt. The government is taking in debt on taxpayer dollars, and the government would wipe out debt with taxpayer dollars. So I don't think that it's a bright idea for people that have no direct benefit to it to do that. If I decide to take out $100,000 and pay for one of my kids' college career, that's on me. That's my call. I can do that. But if I decide to take out, or if the federal government decides to wipe out $1 to $2 trillion in student loan debt, that's not anything that I decided to do. That's someone that was elected that I may or may not have voted for, or even if I did, I may or may not agree with them on that topic. So I just don't think it's a good idea. Plus, a lot of colleges, a lot of the student loan debt that exists isn't from graduates. Pardon me. 'Tis the allergy season in the River Valley. A lot of it is from people that went to school for less than their degree required and still incurred student loan debt during that time, and then either failed out, dropped out, quit attending classes. So I don't really see that wiping out student loan debt, especially for those that didn't have the will to finish college. I don't see that being a fantastic idea. So I guess that's about all I got for today. Love to hear your thoughts. Comment below. Like, share, subscribe, notification bell. Recording on I'm No Expert at some point next week. I don't know if it's going to be a live stream or if it's going to be uploaded later. That I couldn't tell you. But the coworker, he and I have been friends for right about 5 years. And it's interesting because we used to sit on totally opposite sides of the political fence. But we got along very well, and we had some of the more interesting political discussions I've had. So, anyway, I guess that's about all I got today, guys. Hope everyone has a great day, and stay safe. See you next time.